What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we are jumping in with the final TWID and news update ahead of the launch of Destiny 2 Renegades. So first up, today we've got a bunch more gameplay of the actual expansion, new activity content, exotics and all of that kind of stuff. So we'll touch on it briefly. Otherwise, in the TWID, Bungie speak about the launch of the dungeon. They also preview the new artifact for the season, with all of the mods we'll be able to get from that. They talk about new weapons and rewards coming in Renegades as well, with details of armor sets and bonuses. Plus, there are bits of information regarding the launch, so that includes the downtime ahead of launch and all of the preload data for the expansion. So we're going to round it up. If you guys enjoy it, a rating very much helps us on the channel. But now, let's get into it. Our first mention for today, actually separate from the TWID, but we finally got a bunch of gameplay in the form of creator previews for Renegades. So that means we're having a better look at some of the exotic gear, that always being one of the big things that folks talk about first. So from some of those previews, looking at the Heirloom, which is the new combat bow, of course, it's a heavy weapon and the first exotic in this archetype. The intrinsic trait is Bolt Thrower, and the weapon fires high-powered explosive bolts, which is strong against unstoppable champions. But it also has Big Game Hunter, where we can aim down sights for a period of time to overcharge the next bolt fired, and that increases the damage and AoE effect for each charged level. Additionally, for the Catalyst, direct hits with charged shots will scorch the target, and the weapon deals more damage against scorched targets, so having a scorch component in the mix as well is pretty interesting. So we can see this thing puts out a good amount of damage. There's also a charge meter in the UI when you're ADSing. And then finally there is the Praxic Blade, of course. And for the intrinsic trait, Ranged Weapon, we can throw the Praxic Blade, which will seek out multiple targets, and attacking recalls the blade while it's in flight. You can also hold to perform a more powerful throw, sending the blade on a straight path in the direction of your aim, and again releasing will recall the blade. Then as we can see, there's that sort of ornament icon with the red core on it. We'll be able to collect those cores basically to change the cosmetic component of the blade, so I think it just affects the color. But Praxic Blade also has Cormorant Reversal, and while guarding, the sword converts incoming projectiles into bolts that reflect where you're aiming, and apparently reflecting damage with this is pretty strong. Otherwise, there's Cormorant Combo, and after 3 rapid light melee attacks, we'll be able to execute a heavy melee combo. So those are the core exotic weapons for this release. I'm sure there will probably also be one for the dungeon, which I'm assuming will remain secret. But give us your impressions on those down in the comment section. Next up, moving into the TWID. Firstly, for the dungeon race, the dungeon is kicking off on December 13th. Bungie will be live streaming the world first race. They do say anyone who watches the Dungeon Zone broadcast on Twitch for 1 hour will earn the Paranoia pink emblem as a Twitch drop. So there's a quick preview of that. If you're signed up for the Twitch drops, you have to link your Twitch and Bungie account, so you can go ahead and do that ahead of the dungeon race if you want to. Otherwise, we get a look at the Renegades artifact. So this is called the Encrypted Data Disk. And Bungie say the Renegade artifact will provide some potent boosts for Guardian's kinetic, arc, and void toolkits, while also focusing on making your weapons the most dependable tools. Remember, these weapons are your life. And to pair with the new Praxic Blade comes a trio of sword mods, emphasizing unique strike combos to gain potent payouts such as increased damage, unstoppable capabilities, or a whirlwind of blades surrounding the user. And so, getting into the full list, I'm going to have to scroll back and forth here because it just does not fit onto an image or a web page. But in column 1, we've got Anti-Barrier Hand Cannon, Anti-Barrier Sniper, as well as Overload Pulse and SMG, then Unstoppable Bow. We can see for column 2 though, there's Impact Shock Gravity, which grants access to helmet mods, Kinetic Void Siphon and Kinetic Arc Siphon. These mods combine 2 elemental siphons at a discounted rate. There's also Gravitic Voltaic Charge, and while you have an Arc or Void Super equipped, it increases the maximum number of stacks of armor charge that you can carry by 1. Also, there's Expert Handling, and Weapon Final Blows grant a stacking bonus to stability, which resets on weapon reload or stow, and swords will gain guard resistance. Also, there's Fastest Draw, and if the first shot shortly after reloading or readying your weapon is a precision hit, you gain flinch resistance. Finally, for column 2 though, there's Elemental Siphon and Rapid Final Blows with a kinetic weapon or a weapon matching your equipped super create an elemental pickup that matches your equipped super. Then for column 3, we have Press the Advantage, where breaking a combatant's shield grants increased weapon stability, handling and reload speed, and swords get increased guard resistance. There's also Kinetic Synthesis, where sustained kinetic weapon damage and rapid final blows have a chance to generate a unique ammo brick, and collecting this brick will grant ammo to equipped kinetic damage weapons and grant special and heavy ammo progress. So that sounds pretty cool. Also, there's reload at range, and precision hits with bows and snipers grant a stacking bonus to their reload speed, as well as riposte, where shortly after guarding with a sword, your light and heavy attacks stun unshielded combatants, which of course gives us unstop. And then there's power from pain, where rapid final blows against weakened combatants grant you devour. So overall, those sound pretty cool, but for the final two columns, we have dielectric, and defeating arc debuff targets grants bolt charge. Rapidly defeating arc debuff targets spawns an orb of power and heals a small portion of health. There's also armor smith, and breaking a combatant shield temporarily grants you damage resistance and increased melee damage. Also counter energy, and when you or a member of the fire team stuns a champion, you gain energy for your least charged ability, as well as combination argent blade, where briefly pause after executing a light attack, and then follow up with a light or heavy attack to empower your sword for a short time, granting it bonus damage and charge rate. Finally though, we've got Singularity Blade, and while you have Avoid Elemental buff, melee and sword hits weaken targets, while melee and sword final blows create a weakening burst. For column 5, we have Elemental Orbs Arc, so arc weapon final blows have a chance to spawn an arc elemental orb, and arc orbs can be thrown or shot to create an arc explosion that jolts targets it damages. That sounds cool. There's also Kinetic Rupture, where kinetic weapon damage against a powerful combatant has a chance to create a kinetic rupture, and targeting the rupture causes a damaging explosion that staggers combatants. That gives unstop as well. Then we have Sniper's Meditation, where sniper rifle hits grant stacking sniper rifle damage, stability, and reload bonuses for a short time, and heavy ammo sniper rifle hits count as more than one. Also, Sword Storm Combo, where performing 3 sword light attacks followed by a heavy attack summons penumbral blades that surround you to damage and disorient combatants, and sword final blows extend the duration of the penumbral blades. Lastly, Void Infestation, where defeating a weakened target spawns a tracking projectile that weakens other targets. So there we go, that's the preview of the artifacts. Some pretty cool stuff in there, and of course plenty of mods that will interact with the new Praxic Blade as well, which is pretty nice. Otherwise in the TWID, they preview some of the gear that they showed off coming to the portal from the Renegade stream. That includes the new Trials gear and Trials weapons, and we can see what they look like on screen. In terms of the set bonuses though, the 2-piece is Paroli, and primary ammo weapons gain a bonus to flinch resistance after sliding. Then the 4-piece is Martingale, and your weapons gain a temporary increase to handling and aimed at sight speed when an ally is defeated or when you revive an ally. Give me your thoughts on those. But for the weapons featured in Trials this season, we have the Immortal, the Strand Lightweight Frame SMG returns, as well as Astral Horizon, the Kinetic Aggressive Frame Shotgun, and then Cataphract, the Strand Adaptive Frame Grenade Launcher. For new weapons though, there is the Martlet, a new Void Lightweight Frame Pulse Rifle, which Bungie sort of teased in the live stream, and then the Corundum Hammer, a new Strand Adaptive Frame Hand Cannon. So those are the new bits that will populate the portal in this upcoming release. Bungie and the TWID do reiterate that from December 2nd, there will be an open access week, which grants all players access to Edge of Fate, the standard edition, as well as the Legacy Collection for Destiny 2, and all currently available dungeons, and all currencies, weapons, armor, titles, triumphs, and cosmetics that players earn in that time can be retained on their accounts. So there we go, free access to some of the content outside of Renegades itself, starting on December 2nd. Otherwise, for Renegades launch, we get update 950. Of course, this drops on the 2nd of December, where the game should be bought offline at 7:55 AM Pacific. Then, at 8 AM PST, preload for the update will be available on all platforms, with D2 coming back online again at 9 AM. So basically, we have 1 hour to preload by the looks of things, according to this. And in terms of the install sizes for the game, as well as the storage space needed on the right-hand side for installation, this is what we can expect to see. You'll notice some platforms need more space, sometimes significantly more space, to actually do the install. That doesn't mean the final install size will be that big, but it just means the spare space that it needs as it kind of copies, duplicates, and arranges files. So that's worth keeping in mind ahead of the drop, especially given that we have a 1 hour preload window by the looks of things. Obviously, you want to get that right, I suppose, if you want to launch straight in at reset time. And for the moment, that is the TWID. So it's been a busy week in terms of reveals. Obviously, an early TWID right here. Have a brilliant rest of the week, whatever you're getting up to. Give me your thoughts on what we've had shared today. And if you've enjoyed this video, a rating very much helps us out. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon.